my little woodland fairy that I made last week is getting a little table and chair and a cup of tea this week because she's been working so hard. So the little chair is where we're going to start, and I just used this little tiny box. This was just a little box of stickers. I just cut off the little long bit there and then used a sharp knife just to cut out an opening, and then used my craft mat there to cut out this little area here just so I could create a little padded seating area. So this is going to be the seat for the fairy's little chair. I'm loving making these little fairy projects. Not last Sunday, but the one before, I made that little fairy toadstool house. So thank you for all your lovely comments. I know quite a few people have watched that one. And then the little woodland fairy that I made last week. So going with the little fairy theme, I thought this week a little tea time magic was install. So then I used just cotton pads there just to fill out the little box. I used the little offcuts there and put them in to fill it out. And then a couple of squares that I'd cut, I just used them to lie on top. And then I just kept one to just actually put on the top. So this is like a little mini upholstered furry seat. I think that worked out quite well. Like so. How cute. I do love making little mini things. So these are the papers that I'm going to use. I'm going to use one of these to wrap the seat. A few of you have been asking about my craft shop and can you still buy things. It's not open at the minute, my craft shop, but I do have 3 of these left. So I'll just stick them in my Etsy shop and I'll leave a link down below if you want them. I do have other papers and when I get time I will list them, even if it's just on my Etsy shop. Until I maybe reopen my craft shop up one day. Those of you that have followed me for a while will know that I used to have a little craft shop online and do my YouTube regular, and then that stopped for a while when circumstances changed. But now that I'm getting back into it, I'm loving it. Oh, thank you everybody who subscribed, by the way. I really appreciate it. I'm over 15,000 subscribers now. I'm so excited because, it hadn't really moved for a long time, my subscriber count. So I'm so excited that so many more of you are now finding my channel and enjoying my crafts. I've loved doing my recent junk journals I try and do something every week, but I'm loving this little fairy. This is my little third fairy project in a row. So here I'm just using that really bendy wire that I've got, and I've just tried to cut that the same length, and it's not. I've just bent this little shape. I've just made sure that it's wide enough to be, the same width as the box. So this would be the legs, or 2 of the legs. And then I had this other piece of wire here, and I didn't really cut this. It seemed to be the right size that I wanted it. And I just kind of bent it and made sure it was about the same width the legs as the other piece. Now for the tricky bit. Well, it's the only tricky bit about the hot glue here is just gluing that first little bit on to the end of the wire. But as long as you leave that, squeeze it on so it dries properly before you start pulling on the twine, then it works really well. So I didn't have to glue along the wire here. As long as you glue on the ends with the hot glue, as long as that's glued on properly, it won't unwind. I definitely suggest bending the wire into shape before you wrap the twine around, because otherwise you might see little bits of the wire. So definitely, I'm just trimming off the little bits of twine there, and then I used a good little run of glue there and stuck on the first of the 2 legs. So this is great for decoration, but if you were planning on, if you wanted this a bit more robust, then you could put those legs through the actual little box maybe. Make it a bit more secure. But I mean, this is totally fine for what I'm doing it for, just for decoration. Don't have any grandkids yet. So then I just went ahead and wound the twine around the long piece of wire as well. Glued that on, just nipped it on with the pliers to hold it into the glue. The pliers are really good for this, just to squeeze it in, and then just snipped off that end. So this looks like it's going to be the back of the chair, but it's not. So then I just made sure it was the right width and then used nice dot of hot glue to glue one end on, making sure that it's the same length leg, it comes down the same length as the other two legs. And once I was happy with that, turned it round and glued the other one on. This is, I got to this stage and I'm like, this is such a cute little project, just like this, like a little chair. I just think, yeah, this has turned out really better than I thought. I would have left it like this, but I wanted to do it more to scale to me fairy. I know the fairy doesn't fit in the fairy house I made, but I kind of wanted this to at least look like it was roughly the fairy's size chair. So I used a pen here just so I didn't pull on the glue, and I just wrapped, kind of bent the wire around the Sharpie pen there. So then the back now has become the front of the chair, and now the fairy's going to have little armrests. So then just to add a nice little bit of decoration to go around the back and the sides here, I just got this thread, this cream thread. So I just took 2 little lengths of thread and then just wrapped it round and then looped it over. But then where this knot joins on like that, I kind of want it on the other side because I want it to look like, I want you to be able to see the knot bit, like that bit there. So I'm just looping it through from the inside now, making a loop and then getting the 2 ends, pulling it through. So you can just see that little knot bit there, that bit there. You know what I mean. I've never done anything like macrame or crochet. I've never done anything like that before ever. So this is probably the closest I'm coming to doing anything like that at the minute. So yeah, I just got 2 pieces. And yeah, I mean, is this like macrame? Do you just like basically make like knots? I'm not sure. I did quite like it when it was just these big tassely bits on this chair, but anyway, so I've done these little loops all the way around, just left a little gap between. It was a little bit fiddly, but I think I look quite nice, just like that even, quite whimsical. So then next what I done was just move the other ones out the way and just took the first 2 and then took 2 strands from one knot area and then 2 from the other and just done a little double knot. I didn't tighten it right up, I just wanted to leave it down a little bit and just tied those together like that and just tightened it carefully so it didn't tighten all the way up like that. And then I just done it on the next one. I wasn't sure if this is going to work out, but it did work out. I used a pencil actually just so I could tighten it without it tightening up too much. I used a pencil here, and then when I'd done the next layer in, I used like a pen, a bigger pen, because I wanted those gaps a little bit bigger. Oh, here. Just as used as a guide for when I was tightening the knots. So I continued to knot down each of the ends of either side of these little pieces of thread coming down like this. So you can see a little pattern starting there. So what I'd done was just to keep the wires out what I'd done was to keep the threads out the way, because it gets quite messy. Well, not messy, but fiddly. As I just glued those first few round there under the bottom of the chair with hot glue. So then it's kind of straight. And I think that worked out quite cute. Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, I'm really happy with that little fairy chair. So actually I did bend the fronts up like this and I trimmed the backs down. I just wanted it, I felt like the legs were a little bit too long. So that's just the size I wanted. I just bent it out a little bit. So there is a little chair for my fairy. I love that little chair. That's so cute. So when I done my fairy house, the little toadstool, I've got this little bit clear left over. I've had it well wrapped up because I was just paranoid about it drying out. So then I thought I would do this. Get a little leaf, well, it's just a little weed from the garden, and I thought I'd press it into the clay and then make like a little leaf table. So I don't want to add anything else. I just want to try and make it so that the table's just standing on the leaves. That probably makes no sense unless you've seen the clip at the beginning. I didn't know if this would work rolling this into the clay because It's really thin, this leaf. It's really delicate. I'm not sure what kind of plant it is. It's got tiny little spikes on the stem. Not ones where they would quite sting, you know. And then pulled this up. I thought this was going to snap, and then I'm like, oh, this is so strong. These little weeds are so strong. And I just got me tweezers just to lift this out. I know a bigger leaf obviously would have been leave more of an imprint, but it was fine. I was quite happy with this delicate. And this is kind of the shape I wanted, where there's like a pointy bit leaf down and a couple of leaves out at the side. So I think that worked out quite well. I'm not sure how well you can see that on the video. So I've done 2 more, and then I got my little craft knife and just tried my best to cut out roughly where the leaves were. It looks quite flat, this clay, but I don't think I rolled it out completely flat. So some bits are thinner when I'm pulling these bits away, and these bits here are much thicker. Anyway, I think it worked out in the end. I just like to have fun. I don't aim to have to do everything really perfectly, as you know. I've got a lot of patience, but I don't stress when things aren't quite right. I just feel like I can kind of make them right at the end. So then I got this little container here, because I thought if I have them dry and like hanging over the end like this, then that will be the shape I want for the table. So I just made sure that the longer of the leaves there, the longer bit was hanging down, was in the same place on each bit going round, so that would be like the legs for the table. And then I just got a little bit of clay, rolled it out for the top. Just felt like the top needed a nice little flat top. And then just patted that in there and left that to dry. And then I've got my little cup of tea here, so I thought I'll try and copy off it with this tiny little bit of clay that's left. So I left that table to dry, how long? Just till the next day. So I rolled a little ball here, and then I just pushed a pen in and then just dotted it around to make a tiny little plate, or a little saucer, I should say, for my fairy's cup of tea. And then I got another little ball of clay, rolled it up, and then just started kind of pushing things in the middle just to make it, to hollow it out, and try to flatten the top and the bottom a little bit. And then I rolled a tiny little bit of clay, and then I scratched like a little channel in the side of the cup so that this would glue in. So I bent it round, so it's like a little C shape, and then just shortened it a little bit there. Yes, this was quite fiddly. And then just pushed that in to the little cup. And then I just used my tools to try and just push it, the bits in around it, like in between. So that's my tiny little fairy cup. So then I just painted it a nice bright colour. Well, I've done like a lemon colour. Give it a couple of coats of this. This dried super quick. Look at how much sun is coming in my window today. So then that's my little cup painted. And then I just went on with some green paint. I used the darkish colour to go all over my little table in all the little gaps. So I used this kind of bristly brush, and this was good for getting in all the little gaps. And then I went on with just a few different shades of green, just give it a little bit of effect. So welcome if you're new to my channel. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I generally make I generally make a different video every Sunday. What else can I say? Yes, so welcome to Mini Moore. I'm terrible on introducing myself. You will see me on the video one of these days, but yes. Yeah, it's not very scripted. I always just do my voiceover like this in one go as well. I don't edit it. Obviously I edit the video because otherwise it would be like 5 hours long. So I hope you're enjoying my videos and my little third fairy project I've done here. I've no idea what I'm doing next week. I generally don't know what I'm doing. I find it very hard to plan things because I make things up as I go along. So it's very hard to plan my projects ahead. Sorry, I kind of forgot to edit this bit out. You're just left with the paint palette where you can see all my paints have all been dipped in the wrong palettes. So I just went ahead and just added bits of green to this. Sorry, it's a little bit out of shot, this bit here, and then left that to dry. So that was my cute little leaf fairy table. So I've got the cup of tea drying in the saucer, and obviously my little chair. So that's it there. So I just left that to dry, and then I put it next to my fairy. So if you want to watch how I made the fairy, that's on last week's video. Here she is next to the toadstool, and that's her little gorgeous little chair and table and little cup of tea. I hope you've enjoyed watching this week's video and this little bit fairy tea time magic.